a little bit about essential oils. And if you have any questions, just let us know. So Nanci, please introduce yourself.
My name is Email, and I am what is an essential educator. My goal is to teach people about the oils, what they are, and how they can use them in their lives to help support their health and wellness goals, like whatever they are. Can be even physically or emotional wellness goals.
Okay. And sorry, continue.
I was just trying to fill the space, I guess.
So Nanci, how come you started with essential oils?
So initially, it was just I started using them like personally to limit some of the health concerns that family members had gone through. I wanted to be able to control my family, and really I've been using essential oils for the last 7 years, and we've had great experiences over these last few years. And when I first started, I was still working full time in banking. I worked in banking almost my whole life. You know, you grow up, you get a good job, and you're like, that's it, right?
Right.
That's not the case. So I managed to ride out, the crash in 2008 where everything went nuts and everything closed down. Right. But you're never completely safe in the corporate world. So a couple of years ago, my great, amazing job that I was going to stay at forever, they decided they didn't need anyone at our building. And
oh, wow.
That was like 130 people. We're all like, okay. And the environment there had gotten so like toxic, and none of us were happy. We were all miserable, but we were just, going through it because that's what you do. You stay at your job and just keep working.
Right.
So I was faced with a choice. I could either find another job in the same field and end up miserable again in a few more years, or I could try something new. And I really wanted to find something that would help people. Because I want people to have choices. And I want people to do the best for people. To go more into depth so we could,
yeah.
All these things. And my friends to do in I knew would make me happy. And I wanted to know I need to background how I fell in love with the oils as a company. Their mission is to empower to help about their health and wellness. And one of their goals is to, when they go into ingredients, to source an essential oil from it, when they're they go in and they do what they
can. Let's see, Nanci. I have kind of lost you here. Let's see. What's wrong with the connection? La la la. Mm-mm-mm. Let's try again or continue because there, yeah. Now you're back.
Okay. I mean, there's got to be something every time, right?
All right. Like I said before, there's so much energy going on here that it's bothering the the electronic.
That's got to be it. So I don't know where I was when we started freezing.
You were talking about the company and
Okay. Oh, so when they decided to let us go, I had a few months to try and like figure out what to do. And after talking to, I don't even know where it came from, like this thought, hey, maybe I can teach people about the oils and, you know, try and bring them into people's homes. I'm not even sure like where it came from because I had trained myself to not think that way, you know, like growing up. That's not, I didn't do crazy things or, you know, I didn't take risks. But I was like, okay, I'll go with it. And like that week, my friend that got me into the oils and taught me about the oils, she said, hey, I have something to talk to you about. So it was supposed to happen because she was thinking the same thing. She was thinking that I need to get Nanci into this, like she would be good.
right.
And so I just kind of dove head first, but my mindset wasn't quite where it should have been when I did. That's something I had to watch because I'm not naturally what you would call like a salesperson.
Right.
But I've done a lot of like work on my mindset, and I learned that I can do things my way and still get it done. It doesn't have to be the same way that someone else will do it. If it's not authentic to me, how I do things, then I'll hesitate. And then if you're hesitating, not standing still, you're going backwards.
Right.
So
that's great. I mean, that's something that I think people can actually take with them no matter what you do, that you can do things your way and still have it done. Because you know, you're so into your own mind sometimes and how things should be, and that you can actually do things without, you know, they don't have to be done exactly as everyone else is doing them. So
right.
It's great that you brought that up.
Yeah, that's really helps me too. Like, and over the last year or so, not only oils, but help people to see that their strengths are unique to them and how they do things is unique to them. And we don't have to compete with anyone to try and be anyone else. We're all unique and amazing in our own ways. And that's the great thing about communities. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses, and we can learn and grow from each other. And
Yeah,
not to be able to try and do everything ourselves.
right. Yeah, that's great. So tell us a little bit about the different oils. I mean, because I know the whole process about the oils is how your body reacts to the smell, right? Or how is it?
Okay, so I'll start at the beginning because not everyone even knows what essential oils are.
Right. Let's start there.
You know, they breathe, right? that's about that they sell, most of them. But essential oils are aromatic compounds that are extracted from their of health benefits. There's three that you can use the oils. And the way I'm talking about is specific to hair oils because I know they're processed, like I trust their purity.
Right.
So you have to be careful. You can't just deal with oils you buy at a store for like.
Right. Are you still there? I lost you again. What is going on today? Let's see. Hey, Sishan. Kind of lost connection here a bit. Nanci, please talk so I know if you're still there. Let's see. There really is something going on with the energy today. I mean, this is crazy. Are you there, Nanci? Let's see. She'll be back soon and continue talking. So for those who haven't seen it yet, we're talking to Nanci and we're talking about essential oils and how it can affect you and your health and your body. I don't know if any one of you have actually used essential oils. I personally do use them, especially when, I hate, when you can't really breathe because you're like stuck here. That's when I usually use the essential oils. I use a little drops on my pillow, or if I have something around my neck, I put it on so I can breathe in the eucalyptus. So that's what I know. There you go. So let's continue. I was just telling them a little bit about my experience with essential oils, because I use eucalyptus when we have a cold here at home. Yeah. But that's basically it. So yeah, just continue telling us a bit about what it is. That we finished with the last thing you said was about not buying from any store because it's not, you never really know what it is in them.
Yeah, that's right. Especially in the States, I'm not sure how it is like everywhere else in the world, but essential oils are not regulated like food and other things are. So companies can get away with a lot. They can tell you that it's 100% pure, but legally they only have to have like 20% of the actual oil in there. So there's a lot of fillers and contaminants and some of the ones that you might buy from a store.
Right.
So we are very, very proud of our process at like making sure that the oils are pure and there's nothing else added, and like we don't change anything. So we're very proud of that. But so the three ways that you can use essential oils are aromatically, which is how most people are pretty familiar with. You smell them, and there's a few ways you can do it. My favorite way to use oils is in a diffuser. That's pretty popular and easy. You just put a few drops in the diffuser and forget about it.
Right.
But you can even just take the bottle and smell it from the bottle if you are in a hurry or you don't have a diffuser. You can use diffuser jewelry. I have a couple necklaces. I put on the little beads, and it's simple.
Is it lava stones, right, or something like that? Yeah.
Sometimes I've seen ones that are kind of like a clay, but
okay.
And my sister made me a diffuser that I hang from my rearview mirror in my car, and it's made out of like some kind of red clay.
Okay.
So it's simple. Some people even will put a couple drops in their hand and just inhale it that way. That way, if you do it that way, you just have to be careful because you don't want to like rub your eyes after. It's not pleasant.
Yeah. I actually have a funny story about that because, like I said, I use the eucalyptus essential oil. That's like my favorite, especially because, when you got a cold, I hate those sprays for the nose.
Oh yeah.
It actually makes me cry. So I actually have the drops in my bag during the winter, especially. And I had a friend where I used to work, and he's like, because he also hated that, and he was like, he couldn't even breathe. I'm like, but take some drops. And I told him, take just that little drop on your finger and put it on your mustache, because he had quite a big mustache.
Yeah.
The thing was that he put it like on his nose, and it wasn't just like a little drop. So he just started crying. I was like, you have to listen to me. I mean, it's so important that you do it the right way. Otherwise, the poor guy was crying like half the day. The tears were just running.
Oh, so sad.
Yeah. So after that, I'm like, no, I'm not.
Yeah, you're like, please listen.
Yeah. So do you have any funny stories with some kind of essential oil that you've been?
Oh, I've got a few, but not really with the smelling. I've accidentally I've opened the oregano is an oil that I don't use a lot because it's what we call a hot oil.
Yeah.
If it's on like any part of your skin and it's not diluted, it'll probably like burn.
Yeah.
And I have accidentally I don't even know why I was smelling it, but like touched my nose and like the tip of my nose was red and I was like, oh. But I try to be careful. Most of my funny stories are like topical stories. That's the next way we use oils is topically. Now, if you have more sensitive skin or on little kids, the good rule of thumb is to always dilute it with like coconut oil or whatever kind of oil you have on hand. You can even use cooking oil if that's what you have.
Right.
Just do like 2 drops of oil to 1 drop of the essential oil. And it'll help it absorb a little slower. So it actually makes it works better. And like if the oil is like peppermint, which is it's a cold and tingly feeling, it'll lessen that. So a couple of sad, funny stories. Topical. So there's a essential oil blend and it comes in a little like roller bottle and it's got like peppermint and wintergreen and a few other oils that are good for like easing head tension and cooling. So my son had a headache and I told him to put just a little bit on his forehead. And so he did, but then he was like sweaty and it rolled down into his eye. I was pretty new at this still. So I was like, okay, you need to like flush your eye out with water. But that was the wrong thing to do. And I feel awful. Because water will drive it in deeper.
Right.
So never ever use water. You gotta use some kind of like carrier oil to help.
Right. Lesson learned.
I know. So now we just take the roller bottle and like wipe it on our fingers and do it that way. That way there's not going to be any dripping. And he still trusts me. Poor kid.
Yeah, that's good.
It's so bad. But usually what I do with topical that's kind of funny is I carry a bunch of roller bottles in my purse. Like just different oil mixes for like stress, or there's some that I use just because they smell nice. And it's just a way, like instead of using like perfume, I use some of the oils. And I don't always look at which ones I'm grabbing. So I'm pulling out and I'm like putting it on my wrist and then I'm like, oh no. Now I smell like old man or something. Like peppermint and mentholatum smell because I'd put the heat going on my wrist. I've done
Right.
that times, and you would think I would check, but I still don't. But it's
Well,
fine.
they're helping you some way anyway.
Yeah, just I want it to smell nice, but now
Right.
it smells strange. It's okay.
Yeah.
So
So-
the 3 ways. So aromatic is effective, but not as effective as topical. And topical is effective, but not as effective as internal. And internal use is where you really want to be careful what company of oils you're using. So doTERRA actually recommends our oils for internal use. And there are some that you never want to use internally just because that's not what they're made for. And our bottles actually have a supplement facts label on the ones that are safe for internal use. And the ones that are not for internal use, they just have a list of ingredients. So that's a simple way to tell. One of my favorite ones to use internally is lemon. Just put a couple drops of lemon in my water first thing in the morning, and lemon is an uplifting like aroma, so you smell it, but it's also natural. It's got naturally cleansing properties, so it helps your body it supports your body in its natural ability to detox.
Right.
The oils, they are not cures. Gotta be careful to say that, but and there's probably some people who argue with that. Argue with me, but what they do is support your body's ability to do things. It's like a backup for your body, because your body still has to do all the work.
Right.
The oils are just helping give it like an extra charge.
Yeah, that's great. Is there any, I mean, like you mentioned the headache that your son had, is there any specific what's it called, an oil that, is there anything specific in the oil that you had when you had the headache?
Yeah. Well, if you don't have I have it right here. I have notes too. So past tense is the blend I was talking about for headaches.
Mm-hmm.
And that one, it's got, I don't have the list of ingredients, but the ingredients, like peppermint is the major one for headaches. So even if you just have plain peppermint oil, that one will help with head tension. You can, put it on your temples or on the back of your neck. That one is pretty amazing for cooling down. Like if you have a fever or your kids have fevers, you can put it on the bottoms of their feet, and it'll help their body to cool down without like giving them medication, because you don't want to like mask the fever. The fevers are important for our bodies to be able to get rid of whatever's happening, but peppermint will cool you down. It's also great if you live somewhere hot. I do. It gets like 117 Fahrenheit here in the summer. It's so hot. So I make little like spray bottles of water with a few drops of peppermint, and I'll just like spritz my arms and legs if I have to be outside.
Oh, that's great. Not that it's so hot here in Sweden, but
just if it's ever hot somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I had no idea about the fever with the peppermint. That's great to know. So what else is it? Is there anything else that you would say that it's great to have at home?
So I, of course, love all the oils. Like there are a few that I think everyone should have, and it really depends on what's important to you and what your health concerns are. if you're not sure what your health concerns are, because people always tell me they don't have any, but I'm pretty sure they do. They just don't know. So if you don't know what your health concerns are, there's 3 that I recommend everyone have: lemon, lavender, and peppermint. And those 3 are like the best ones to get started with because they cover almost all your concerns, because they're all great for so many things. And so, for example, lavender, most people know it's calming, right? But what most people don't know is that it's calming for all things. Like it's calming on skin irritation. And another funny thing I use lavender for is I'm constantly like, I don't know how, I'm always burning myself when I cook.
Okay.
I don't pay attention, or like the pad will slip and I'm like reaching into the oven and then I'm like, oh man, my fingers. So I keep lavender in my kitchen, because if you put lavender, like a drop of lavender on the burn, it'll take the redness away and take away the pain.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Quite handy. So you can use it on sunburns also. So not only will it help you sleep and calm your mind so you can sleep, it'll help calm your skin if you get burned, or if you have like a bug bite or something, anything like that.
Right.
And lemon, lavender, and peppermint all together are great for seasonal allergies or seasonal discomfort, like when the weather changes or if there's like high pollen count. Diffusing those 3 or taking all 3 internally, they help your body to not have like such a harsh reaction to allergies or the pollen in the air.
All right. Oh, that's amazing. That's great to know. I mean, here in Sweden, just because, soon the pollen will be blooming. Oh, that's amazing. So, do you use lavender for cooking as well?
You can. I've not used it much. I've tried it in like frosting for some cookies before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you can use it, and you can, use most of the oils in the cooking. I mostly use like peppermint, lemon, wild orange, basil, oregano, stuff like that in my cooking.
Yeah.
Because I don't love the taste of lavender very much.
Me neither.
But you can use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some that just don't taste great. And we at health food stores, you can find like empty veggie capsules. They're like the vitamins that are empty.
Yeah.
You can put drops of the essential oils in there to avoid the taste but get the benefits of them.
Uh-huh.
So
that was good to know.
eventually I was like, okay, I'll just, put it under my tongue, because I've been using them for so long. But in the beginning, I was trying to do anything to avoid the taste.
Yeah.
There's some that's awful. There's but they're so good, I'm willing to like taste it now. There's one, it's called Digestin, and this one is our digestive support blend. So like whenever you eat too much, or you're like feeling bloated or having any kind of like stomach discomfort, this is the oil you want. And you can either put it like topically on your stomach or take it internally. And it tastes like black licorice, because it's got like all those lovely tastes in there. And I've never liked that taste, but
okay.
But when you know that the oil is gonna work, then you like power through it, because it doesn't taste like, it doesn't last very long, the taste.
Right. Well, that's, I guess, the good thing. You don't really have to eat it in any way. You just have to kind of swallow it.
I mean, you can always plug your nose.
Right. That's great. But okay, so the three that you said that you believe people should have home, it's lemon, lavender, and
Pepper.
peppermint. Right. So the peppermint was good for fever,
Mm-hmm.
for you said something else that I didn't know.
You can use it for head tension,
Right.
cooling.
Cooling. That was a good one.
Peppermint is also good for digestive support too. So if you don't have the other oil, like you can use peppermint in the same way. You can take it internally. You can put it on your stomach. And one of my favorite ways to use peppermint is to give me like kind of a energy boost in the afternoon sometimes when you've been going all day and you kind of hit that slump in the afternoon. You can just put a drop of peppermint in your hand and, smell it. Just take a few deep breaths, and peppermint is energizing. So it kind of like wakes your mind up.
Okay.
You can also use it to freshen your breath too.
Right.
That's one of my favorite ways because I love really intense mint flavor. I used to eat mints like crazy. So now I'll just now I don't recommend other people do this because it's a bit much, but I put a drop of peppermint under my tongue.
Yeah.
I never want more than one drop because it's way too much. But
right.
If you're not as crazy as I am, make sure your hands are clean and you just put like a drop on your wrist and you can like lick your hand or like put some on your thumb and put it in your mouth.
Yeah, that's great. Is just before I forget, is there any link that we can put on later if people want to buy from you?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
Yeah.
and then those 3 oils I mentioned, we actually have like they come in a kit together, so it's a little bit of a discount instead of like buying them all separate.
Right. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, we'll put a link in there. And I'm based in America, but doTERRA has open markets all over the world.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I know they have it here in Sweden too. So
so that's good because shipping would be an awful mess to try and figure out if everyone was trying to send it.
Right. Especially now with COVID. Oh my God.
Even here, like the mail takes twice as long. And I'm like, why? I don't know.
Yeah. So talking about COVID, how has COVID been or how was 2020 for you?
It was not what I was expecting. I started out the year knowing it was going to be like hard because of some of the things that were going on in my family. But then it totally like turned everything upside down and it was hard in a completely different way.
Right.
None of the bad stuff I thought was going to happen happened, but every week I was like, what's going on now?
Right. Yeah.
And like I'm actually grateful for like what I've learned during COVID because before I was going and like teaching classes in person and I was going to like marketing events and meeting different people. And that's how I was like getting to know people. And I was trying my hardest to avoid social media.
What happened?
All these crazy things. I'm like, why am I doing this? But it's great. So I grew up like hiding from cameras and being like so self-conscious. But somehow during COVID, like I started to come out of my shell and realize, hey, I don't need to be hiding. Like, I don't know, maybe this just happens when you hit a certain age. You start to realize I'm amazing and I don't need to try and like fit in anyone's little boxes and I don't have to look perfect.
Right.
I can show up as me and someone is looking for people like me who are real and not like perfect and have their life all together. So it's still taking a lot of work, but like I started to think, okay, how am I going to do this business when I can't go out and meet people, which is, it's a relationship business.
Yeah.
Like, how am I going to do this? So I started trying to build up my Instagram, and took me a bit to kind of figure out how I wanted that to go. I was just kind of like posting to be posting at first, and I didn't really put my voice to everything, but slowly it evolved to me realizing that if I put more of a personal touch in the stories or how I use the oils, then that's going to resonate with someone, and I'll be attracting the right people, because I'm not right for everyone. And there's so many different essential oil experts out there, but maybe there are people who are looking for someone that's they can relate to,
Right.
like a regular person.
Yeah. I
So
love that.
I like had
Well,
all these epiphanies during COVID lockdowns, I guess.
yeah. And I think, and that's what I love. And I do think I'm going to ask this question to everyone during 2021, because everyone has different experience. And, everyone that I have in my lives, they're from different part of the world. They're doing different things. They're, some are coaches, and you work with essential oils, and I have mediums, and, it's a really mix up. But I love that so far, most of the people that have been in my lives and that I have asked this question, that they all feel that they actually have gotten something positive out of the whole situation, that they have grown personally in some way, or, and I love to hear that. I love to, that people are willing to share this with others as well, to that, COVID is not only negative. I mean, yes, we kind of got locked down and everything, but that you can still get so much out of it.
Right.
I don't know how many people have you met online this year?
Tons. Like I would have never connected with you or if I hadn't decided to like actually be around on social media. It's opened up so many doors, because I live in the same place that I grew up in, so my world is pretty small.
Right.
And, it got even smaller for a bit when we couldn't do anything. But I would have never met so many people if it
Right.
wasn't for being forced into finding a different way to do things.
Yeah. And that's something that, I can relate myself, because I actually started my life when COVID hit, and I have met so many people. I mean, it's crazy, and I love it, because just the fact about being sharing with one another, and getting to if it's ideas or helping one another, and that's something that I didn't really feel before.
Right.
Even if I also have had my own company many years, it was never the same as it is now, because now I have so many people and contacts, and just the life thing. I would have never thought at the beginning of 2020 that I would be doing this. So I love it. It's great. But just so you've been working with essential oils for 7 years, right?
Well, I was using them just at my home for 5 of those 7 years. And then
Okay.
just the
Yeah.
last year and a half to 2 years, I started to
Work with them.
Yeah. And because I decided that if they were changing my life and doing things for me, it's actually, kind of selfish if I'm like holding it back because I'm afraid of what people might think.
Yeah. And it's much easier to talk about it as well when you actually, you have so much to tell him, he helped me with this, he helped me with that, don't do that
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Don't put it in your eye.
right, no water.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great. But what is it that you feel, I mean, now being like an entrepreneur, what have you learned the most out of this whole so far?
Gotta narrow it down. So I was actually talking with Sean last week about this a little bit. And I told him, I'm like, I'm really bad at reflecting on things. Like, I'm more of a like, okay, this is just go and go and go. And
Right.
then somebody asks me to like, tell me how you got there. I'm like, hold on. I have to sit and think. But what I've gotten from this, and it's, it's not easy. It's still a struggle a lot, but just the mindset and like the belief that I can do this, even though, this is not what, people did. This was something for like other people with different skill sets.
Right.
But realizing that I can do something like this and that I can, make an impact in other people's lives has been just huge. And that's what's changed the most for me, is like my belief in like that I can do this, my belief in myself, and like learning to love and love my strengths and be okay with like who I am. And that's like giving me the encouragement and like momentum that I need to push forward. Because at first I was like, okay, just tell me what to do, to my mentor, and they would, but I still hesitated because it wasn't the way that I felt more comfortable doing things. It wasn't like my way. And then they moved away from me like last year. So then I kind of like, they're not gone completely. Like I'm still in contact with them, but they're not like here in the same city as me. So I've had to like take ownership of what I'm doing. And that's been oddly freeing as well. Like taking ownership of if this works, it's because I made it work. Not because I relied on other people or other people like dragged me.
No, I love that. That's wonderful. And it's, I mean, when I look at your Instagram, and I love your Instagram. It's really nice. And also, the fact that you feel so natural and you're so spiritual, if I can say that. I mean, you feel very grounded, and I love that. And that's also one of the reasons why I actually asked you to be here. Just because I feel it's so important to share that kind of story that you just share with others, that it's okay to be you and you don't have to do it like everyone else, and to be, even if it's not the normal, it doesn't mean that it's not okay. And I love that. I mean, I feel that it has to be shared more, especially with the younger generations, to let them know that just be yourself. I mean, you have 3 sons at home. And I think that, having you there, even if you might not think about it, they look up to you. And that's a great way to teach them how, be yourself, and that's okay. And be a supporting mother by the side. And, especially when you have been in the other part, when you weren't as secure, or you weren't, you're trying to fit in, to be able to tell them more, you can do this way or you can do that way. But is there anything that you usually do with your kids, to try to inspire them to be themselves or to do what they want to do?
Mm-hmm. Can I just pause for a minute? My computer's about to die.
No.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. So until we wait, Nancy has three kids, three guys, and we were actually talking about that before. That it's a bit different. You know, I'm also a mother, but I only have two, and they're two different genders. So you know, we don't. It's not the same issues because they don't have to be fighting about the same things. You know, my son loves
Sorry.
playing at the computer when my daughter doesn't. So yeah. So Nancy, continue.
Sorry, I'm back.
Don't worry.
Okay, so you're asking me what I do with my kids to. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to
Is,
remember it.
no, but is there anything that now that you have learned or you know realized that it's okay to be yourself and you know just to do things your own way, have you are you trying to teach your kids some way to be that way as well?
Yeah, and it's a little like it's not quite the same, with the 8-year-old as it is with the 12-year-old. But my oldest, I'm the oldest too, so I recognize a lot of like the things that upset him. It's like the oldest mindset. You feel like the weight of the world is on you, and
Yeah.
trying to,
Such a responsible one.
yeah, I'm trying to, and I still feel a lot of responsibility for stuff, but trying, like, when I talk to him, I let him know that it's okay to feel however he's feeling, because emotions, they can't hurt you. You just have to like feel them and decide what you're going to do with them. And trying to it's get on a little easier now that he's a little older, to talk to him in the same way that like I would be talking to myself, right? Like, this is
Right.
just a circumstance. And I've gotten to where I'm an optimistic person, so I'm really trying not to like just point out all the good things when he has a situation that he's upset about, because that's not helpful to people who don't want to hear it at the moment, right?
Right.
So, because when he's complaining about school, like, if I say, oh, well, at least you're at home, that's just like minimizing how he's feeling.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I want him to, be comfortable with how he's feeling and like with himself before he's a grown up, if at all
Right.
possible, and save him several years of not doing what he could do. So like
Right.
trying to like ask questions when I'm talking to him, like asking if and let's see, like the other day he doesn't like Tuesdays for some reason. I'm still trying to figure out why. So ask him if he's okay. Instead of just asking, are you okay? What's the matter? Like, I ask him, is it emotional? Is it like something physical that happened? Like, I try to be a little more specific and not like get really invested in what his answer is going to be. Like, just trying to like remain calm and even about it. And
Yeah.
then let him like trying to ask questions to help him get him thinking more about like what's actually going on.
Mm-hmm.
Just, and as parents, we always want to encourage our kids that they can, do anything and be anything that they want.
Yeah.
And still trying to like work on how to go about that. Because, my generation, we were all raised a certain way because that's how our parents were. And that's not right or wrong, but
Yeah.
I think kids now need to be a lot more, they're expected to be a lot more like, there's just a lot more expected out of them. So how we were raised, not necessarily going to set them up to be well-adjusted adults.
Yeah, yeah, and it's hard. I mean, because I mean, I'm also raised in a certain way that you have to, go to the university and get the diploma, and that whole. Um, when I've noticed that, what I'm doing today has nothing to do with what I have studied in the
Yeah.
university nor school, um, and that my passion, for example, my passion for dancing, I have always had it, and that's one of the things that I do today. And I just want my kids, to have as much as possibility as,
Yeah.
so they can choose later on, okay, what do I want to do? But I don't want them to make them either, you have to do this because,
Right.
so it's hard just to, do whatever you want, but yet keep all doors open. But yeah, we have some years left until, those bigger questions come up, I guess.
Yeah. Feels
Yeah,
like we have a lot of years, but probably it speeds by.
for sure.
Hey, we thought we had things all figured out, but then, COVID happened and the world's completely different now.
Yeah, who knows how it will be then,
Yeah.
It's like, what is it, 6 years for your oldest to be 18, so it's like a lot can happen.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to and I'm so lucky that he catches on really quickly. He's just he doesn't want to do any of his schoolwork most of the time, but he can. I don't have to really do too much to help him, thank goodness, because the math is getting a little trickier. But sometimes if he's trying to work on something and he doesn't get it the first time he reads it, he'll just have me come stand by him, and I don't know, having someone standing there and looking over things just kind of helps him talk it out, and then he's like, "Oh, I got it," and then I'm like, "Phew." I can figure it out, but
Right.
if it's not something I use every day, it gets filed far, far back in my
Right. Yeah, I'm a bit scared when the algebra part starts coming. The only thing I remember about algebra was that I didn't like it. So it's like,
I know. Yeah, all I remember about math is that I made it through somehow.
oh yeah, it is. It's been that. So Nancy, it has been great. We have been talking for almost an hour already. But is there anything that you would like to share before we go? Either, regarding personal development or essential oils or anything.
So, with anything that you're trying new, so in a business, mindset is key. So, finding a mentor that will help you to see your value and push you and to make you think of things that maybe are hard to hear, but will help you push you forward is vital. And as far as essential oils go, I would love to help anyone figure out what oils would help them with their needs, whether it's sleep, stress, anxious feelings, immunity, you name it, there's an oil or two for it. And I love helping people find the ones that are the simplest to get started with. So I do wellness consults with people. And I'll put a link to my website, and it's got links to I teach essential oil classes every week. I've got a sample experience coming. So I'll put a link to that, and just follow me if you want to find out little tips or tips
Tips and tricks.
tips and tricks and like ways to use essential oils in a simple, uncomplicated way, because that's how I do things. I try not to make things complicated, and I'll show you how to use essential oils in your life and make it easy and fun.
Great. Thank you so much, Nanci. It was great to hear your story. Just not only sharing about the essential oils, but also about, your personal growth. So thank you so much. And like we said, we're going to put the links right after this. And if you have any questions, just let Nanci know, or me if you can get in touch with her. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for your time, Nanci. And I wish you the best. Take care.
Thanks.